where probably the concept of a digital twin comes in? Because I am actually doing it. I have to do it on on a system. See how the product comes out, so that finally, when I put it out in the factory where I'm selling
Yeah.
millions of products, the investment is far more larger, and
Yeah.
therefore is that what is called as a digital twin?
That's great. Yeah, segue. Yeah. A lot of ways it is. Digital twin is used in a lot of different ways. Well, one of the ways is to, when you're designing a product, you want to know how that's going to be produced. And one of the ways to do it is model your process or your equipment using a digital twin model and run simulations and adjust your temperatures. Now, this you can do it safely and without blowing up anything and cost effectively because you're not wasting a product, right? Going back to my steel industry experience, the most cost incurred in steel making is the conversion cost,
Hmm.
the energy you put in to make the steel, and so you can't do experimentation. But with a digital twin, you can do those kind of trial and error type experimentation, and with the digital twin also, with the machine learning and artificial intelligence, it takes you to the next level. For example, vaccine manufacturing. Or tablet, a medication they're trying to create. Either you mix up a bunch of chemicals and try to see trial and error. You can do that. That's how they used to do. Vaccine manufacturing took anywhere from 12 to 17 years because they were literally performing those tests physically.
Hmm.
Of late, they're using digital twins and a lot of automated machine learning and artificial intelligence to build these models to simulate those things really fast and get to 80-90% of the way and then tweak the remaining 10-20% in the actual plant.
So how does that work, Sri? I don't have a physical plant, or I have a composition for a tablet.
Mm-hmm.
So where do I deploy it? Because normally they do tests on they use on what they call as target patients or whatever, and then that's really then they see the impact. That's the way they build over 17, 18 years. Now in a digital twin, how do I assess how it works? So is that something which is completely machine learning, and or if it is a product like what you're talking about, 80 degrees or whatever, how it's a completely simulated environment, is it?
Yeah, I mean, the phase 1, 2, 3 trial for a drug product, you still have to go through with the human phase trials before the FDA or any regulatory authority is going to approve your product. You still have to go through that. But to get to the point, they typically did 10, 12 years of creating these concoctions, different products by physically doing it. So originally they automated it using machines, and then they moved to the next step and say, look, the chemicals are going to react this way, that way. This is a subject I'm not really an expert on when it comes to drug products, how they do this. I can go back and give you a simulation of manufacturing in the aerospace part,
Please, please.
which I'm really very familiar with.
Yeah.
When you're building an say F-35 fighter plane, one of the things maybe we shouldn't talk about F-35. There may be some that may be classified and stuff like that, which I don't know anything about. So I've been out the industry almost 5 years. But let's say if I'm building a product for a new Boeing or an Airbus plane, it's all about lightweighting. So steel is heavy. You can't really put steel in airplanes. So they started using aluminum. Aluminum is lightweight, but it is not as strong as steel. So they started mixing alloys. And to produce a new product, Used to be you mix up, literally physically you mix up a bunch of different alloys and to figure out uh, how strong it is, come up with the different strengths, and how it is going to perform in different conditions, temperatures. Is it going to break if I'm launching this, putting it on a rocket? How is it going to perform in outer in space? Those are the things that they were used to test. So it will take anywhere from 5 to 10 years to do these kinds of testing. So now what they do is, instead of physically testing these things, they have evidence of some of these products, how they behave, characteristics of different alloys and stuff. So they have those things, data available. So they use those data. They do finite element analysis and a bunch of other computational tools. They build those into a digital twin model, and they simulate how a product will perform. And what it allows them to do is they can eliminate some of the other combinations effectively. So they gets you around 50-60% of the way. So that reduces the time frame much less. And then based on those simulations, they go back and they do create those combinations physically, test it, and further refine their models. So the constant model refining goes on. So it never a straight, 80% of the way I'm going to simulate myself. It's a step process. You simulate, eliminate some of the possibilities, and then make a prototype. And so you're reducing, in the meantime, you're reducing that cycle time that needs to make that product.
So, thinking back, is there some learning to take from the digital twins that the manufacturing industry uses for the software and IT industry? Most often, what we really see is, when you deploy a tech or a software, the business benefits, or what they call as, the return on investment, or the TCO as they call it, and therefore the ROI that happens out of IT products is pretty much, I believe, in a manufacturing era where you build products, you deploy them. Do you often measure efficiency? Do you measure productivity? Do you really look at when a release happens, does that release really help the customer? I think there's a lot of learning that the manufacturing industry provides because they've built physical products, they've got data, they then build the digital twins and then simulate them in a structured environment and therefore in a restricted environment, and therefore they're able to see some results and then they're able to build a product. So similarly, the IT industry is, I believe, the software industry is in a manufacturing era where there are lots of hypotheses and biases and solutions that come in a software engineer's mind, but when it gets deployed, is it easy to use? Does it save time? Does it give me better productivity? Are we able to collaborate better? These are themes that are on the basis on which products are built, but do we collect data and therefore can we then start to fine tune it? I think there's a lot of learning that can be picked up from the manufacturing industry and from digital factories, because today's knowledge industry will become digital factories of tomorrow, and therefore there's a lot of learning to pick up and apply them here.